One Punch Man is perhaps one of the most influential manga out in the last century, and ever since its anime release, it managed to break tons of records and leave an insurmountable impact on the industry. It inspired many manga like Mashle or even My Hero Academia, both of which are serialized in the Shonen Jump magazine. But what is the exact state of it now? Personally, my journey with One Punch Man started like most of you guys with the first season of the anime. Then I went on and read the manga and I was absolutely stunned by the incredible artwork by Yusuke Murata. I remember reading the conclusion to the Garo arc last year and the manga was trending on almost every social media platform. So what happened to all of the hype now? Before we get into this video, please leave a like and subscribe as that helps the channel a lot more than you think. People are calling the recent One Punch Man arc slow and that it's not as interesting, and honestly, listen, in its defense, you just cannot have an arc that's over 100 chapters long with constant conflict be followed by the same type of hype and quality. I mean, that's simply not possible. It just feels intrusive and overwhelming. Anyways, what followed after the Garo arc is the Neo Hero Saga, which includes a ton of arcs that just go from place to place and character to character. But it mostly does a really good job at setting up things for the future. I especially like how the mystery surrounding God is played around with between almost everyone in the cast. Even recently, we got some new information regarding the Ninja Clan massacre that is apparently linked with both God and Blast. And this only makes me think how the last ever villain that we're going to see Saitama fight is none other than God himself. And to be honest, I expect that fight to be one of the most insane fights ever. I think Murata in specific will have quite the hard time drawing it, but still, what about Saitama? I'm curious to see if he will finally face an actual challenge, and who knows, maybe he will struggle a bit. Now, of course, I think everyone knows the outcome. He's going to win, and that's just the whole point of the series and this character, I guess. But what's interesting is how exactly is he going to do it? Is he going to have to tap into that invincible power like he did with Garo's fight? Or is he going to receive help from characters like Genos or Blast? Anyways, I'm backtracking a bit, but what I noticed while reading this saga is that it's a bit messy. It's not as focused as I hoped it would be. It does establish some things, but then I feel like it moves on too quickly from one thing to another, and it just creates this very fuzzy narrative. For example, we first have the Psychic Sisters arc with Tatsumaki and Fubuki, but then we trace over to what King is doing, and now we're in the middle of a flashback between Sonic and Flashy. So I just wish it took its time more and didn't just breeze through some of these chapters. Now, another big thing is the Neo Heroes that appeared in the story, and all I can say is that they're not to be taken lightly. I know One Punch Man likes to play around with its villain groups, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to pose a threat. I think they are heavily underestimated in the story, but also by the fans. I mean, they already showed some pretty impressive feats if you think about it. I mean, they gathered a lot of really great heroes like Metal Bat or Child Emperor at the end of the day. To end things off, I know there was some confusion regarding something Murata said on Twitter about the manga being in its final stretch, but I'm pretty sure it was quickly debunked as being just a translation mistake that fans made. Having said that, I do think the manga is heading towards the end, and it might be in its final third, just because we sort of have a vision of how things are going to go. We know the final antagonistic force, well, sort of, and we are aware of each character's whereabouts like Blast, Sonic, Metal Bat, and others. Despite the webcomic not showing signs of it being near the end, I don't think that should be taken at face value too much, because one, the author doesn't follow a specific structure when releasing chapters for it. Ultimately, I think it's kind of safe to say the manga doesn't have a lot of time left, but I'll surely be here when it's ending. This was it for today. Let me know in the comments below what are your thoughts about this last saga, and do you think it's setting up nicely for what's to come, or are you just not a fan of it? See you guys next time. Peace.